Hello, good evening. Welcome to UPfront. Now, the number of ministers serving under the President, Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, has actually now jumped to 110. This follows the announcement today of the appointment of ministers and deputy ministers to the 6 newly created regions. Of course, we do know that there's a reshuffle too. I'll go through the list, but already I'm keeping one woman who used to be deputy minister in charge of that's TVET, that's technical education and vocational education, and also at the basic level, she's been moved to the Ministry of Works and Housing, as we understand now. Barbara Asha, you see, is on the line. You're welcome, madam, to UPfront. Well, I sure should be able to get back Barbara on the phone lines and get to appreciate what her reaction is to this particular change. We sure be speaking to some of the other people who have been given specific positions or reassigned, including the Minister previously of Tourism and Creative Arts, who's been moving straight to that particular ministry. But my guest today used to be a representative of the state in China. In that particular capacity, he conducted foreign policy on behalf of this state with others in that particular hood. Well, I'm giving to understand I can go to the phone lines now and speak to Barbara Shaisi, who is actually the minister, moving from the Ministry of Education as a deputy minister in charge of basic education to that of works and housing. Honorable, you're welcome to UPfront.
Thank you very much, sir.
I mean, how did you receive the news that this change has affected you?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. Honestly speaking, we are still very busy in the office, but permit me to say good evening to the good people of Ghana. I'm grateful to God. I mean, the Bible says that we should count our blessings one by one. I mean, this is an opportunity. I told myself that I am ready to serve the good people of Ghana. And I've gained a lot of rich experiences under my affable minister, Honorable Dr. Matthew Puku-Prempeh, who has coached me, groomed me. I've gained so many experiences, and I believe that this new office that I'm going, ministry that I'm going, I will bring all the expertise and knowledge to bear and see what I can learn from Honorable Atachia and then move our dear country forward.
Were you told the reasons why you were being moved to the new ministry?
No.
I understand it's the prerogative of the president, but why on your own do you think this change has really affected you?
Oh, well, I've been here for close to 2 years, and I've worked hard as the Deputy Minister of Education. I was in charge of technical and vocational education and training, and this is the first time in this country, in the history of Ghana, to have had the Deputy Minister of Education solely in charge of TVET, Technical and Vocational Education and Training. We've done so much. We set ourselves targets. We gave ourselves 5 years to transform TVET in this country. And God being so good, we've achieved quite a number of them. Thinking about realigning all our TVET scattered across the 19 ministries under the Ministry of Education. Also having our own TVET service. And all from which is part of the pre-tertiary bill, and very soon it will hit Parliament, and I'm sure that when it hits Parliament, we'll all agree and work together to see it pass to law. And apart from that, we also have a TVET, a skills fund to support people who have acquired skills but do not have any capital start, and that fund is to support such people. Again, we also, per our manifesto promises, we said talking about perception, we can only erase the perception people have about TVET when we do things right. We realize that, with regards to infrastructure, it was just terrible. I mean, you go to our vocational and technical schools and it's nothing to write home about. So we indicated that we're going to upgrade all our public TVET institutions to a world-class level. And we had a loan agreement with AVIC, a China company, and work will start soon. We are also saying that we know that per the policies that we are putting in place, it will get to a point in this country where TVET will be first but not last, and everybody want to rush to acquire a skill. In my constituency, started something called acquire a skill. It doesn't matter whether you are a master, you have your master's or your PhD, you can still acquire a skill. So we said that we're going to give every region 2 state-of-the-art centers. And thankfully, we are working assiduously, and very soon, by the close of this year, we will at least have seen some of these, projects, started. So I'm happy. I've done well. I'm so happy to have worked with the Honourable Minister, gained so many experiences, and I thank my constituents for the support and the prayers. Education is hot, and my constituency, Cape Coast North, is also very hot. But I've tried, to keep that balance. So I'm sure that I am probably, I do not know, but I think I've done very well. And probably I have to go somewhere else to see how I can support that ministry to also, probably, implement some other policies.
I get your point. It sounds interesting. My only question in that direction is that in the last 2 years that you've been at the ministry, superintending over that section of our education sector, has there been any new TVET institution built by government? Has the existing one seen an upgrade of a sort? Do you now think that TVET is no longer seen as the not so wonderful option for Ghanaian students?
No, I think it will take time because looking at the damage, my dear, we can't use a year or 2 years.
Okay.
Because, it's all about our mindset, the way we think. You know that somebody can be poor, but think that he or she may think that he's rich, and then he becomes rich. When I wanted to be a member of parliament, some thought that, Barbara is too young, but I'm now a member of parliament because I believe in myself. So the way we think controls everything. So as a country, I know that from now to the next 5 years, because we set targets, looking at the damage we can, or probably where we want to, or what we want to attain, we cannot use 2 years. So we have 5 years, and so far it is getting well. I mean, it may take time, but we'll get there. From now, I know that the person who will take over will also continue with some of the good things that I did, and I'm sure together TVET will be first but not last. And His Excellency the President is an advocate. He's an ambassador. He thinks TVET. I told a group that I made that, listen, Singapore is Singapore because of TVET. Germany is Germany because of TVET. Malaysia is Malaysia because of TVET. Even Morocco is Morocco because of TVET. And Ghana will be Ghana because of TVET.
I see. The final question I'm asking in this case is, what exactly do you bring to the Works and Housing Ministry? Exactly what do you hope to bring there that would make the work of the ministry better off, improve its slots, and make sure that Ghanaians feel that that ministry is working to T?
I think, my dear, so far the ministry is doing well. I know Honorable Atachia over the years has worked assiduously to, coming up with policies that will affect lives.
Like specifically which policy?
But I
Forgive
don't
me, I want to be clear.
I just got the information. I need
I want to be clear.
To really
which policy are you making?
Really?
Sorry, I just want to know which policy you are referring to. Okay.
I think it's too early.
Okay.
Maybe for somewhere. I just received the message and I need some time.
Forgive me, because you mentioned that he's been putting out policies. That's why I wanted to be clear in my mind. Which one?
Sorry?
Yes, I said because you stated that the Honourable Minister has been putting out policies. And that's why I wanted to know which specific one.
Sure, I don't think that Honourable Atachia all this while has not done anything. So now that I've received this good news by the grace of God, I need time to think through, to see what I can also bring on board. When I was in education, apart from what the government was doing, I was also doing things to support.
Okay.
I have left certain landmarks. We're putting on program on TV called Let's Talk TVET, where we engage young people at the various basic schools and institutions, and we bring resource persons, which is going to roll out very soon. I mean, the next person will have to continue. When I get to housing, I'll also have to continue with some of the good things that
I get your point. I asked that question specifically and simply because I've seen your background, at least was shared by Parliament. You've been in education for some time now. You've been house mistress at Wesley Girls High School. You've been form mistress with a GES too.
Then you have a lot of information about me.
Certainly so, but I'm struggling to connect this previous knowledge and competence with where you are going.
My dear, you see, some people promise They say, I'll do this, do that, and they go, they don't perform. So watch out for Barbara Ashe in the next few months to come, by the grace of God. Please.
The Honourable Member of Parliament for Cape Coast North, I appreciate your time this evening, and congratulations once again.
Thank you very much, my dear, and have a good evening.
Enjoy your evening too. She's moving from the Education Ministry in charge of technical vocational education straight down to be a Deputy Minister of Works and Housing. Of course, we sure should be getting the others and getting to speak to them. But I did tell you that my guest today on this show is actually a man who was part of the team representing the state until recently in China. The Honorable Ambassador Horace Niankara, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
I hope you are doing well this day.
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
For you non-career diplomats, is it automatic that so far as government change, you have to pack bag and baggage and leave post immediately?
Exactly. You have to leave. I think we're given some few weeks to leave. And
Okay.
just like the lady was saying, obviously you look at the work that you've done, and then you could say to yourself whether you've done well or not. But you simply have to leave. And when we lost the election and we were asked to leave, I had no choice but to write a very good handing over note, let those who are taking over to know where we were, and then we had to come back home.
Let's talk about the ministerial reshuffle. I'm sure you've seen the list. I'm sure you've heard of who is going where. But briefly, for those who have not been through the process, we're actually giving you some details on that on the screen. I'm sure they can put it up again so that you know who is going where. But so that we briefly get it. The deputy minister I spoke to is moving from education to work and housing. We know that the Honorable Barbara Otinejesi, who was deputy in the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, is moving not from her member of parliament position as Pristia Valley, but rather to be substantive minister at the Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. And the person she is replacing, in this particular case, Catherine Afeku, who is member of parliament for Evaluate Jura, is moving straight down there to the office of the president as a minister of state. So that's the difference. She will not be in charge of her ministry. She's going to the office of the president as a minister of state, specifically assigned to the office of the senior minister. And that's the difference there. I'm sure you've heard of Gifty Chumampofo. She replaced J.B. Danko Edu as the Boakwa North constituency MP. She's also leaving the Gender, Children and Social Protection Ministry and going now to the Ministry of Education. You recall that she was a science teacher up until she contested that particular position to replace the member of parliament who died some years ago. The Honorable Frida Prempeh, whose position is being taken by the Honorable Barbara Ashe. Honorable Frida Prempeh is moving from the Ministry of Works and Housing and then will become a deputy minister in the Social Protection and Gender Ministry. Now, the Honorable Nana Eya, if you do not know her, she is actually the member of parliament for Gomoa Central. She's now going to be deputy minister in replacement of the Honorable who's been made the gender minister now, Barbara Otinejesi. So she's going into the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry. The Honorable Alex Kojo Aban, who is a member of parliament for Gomoa West, is also moving to be in the Ministry of Health as a deputy. And we have Yao Afol, who is a member of parliament for German South, who will now be deputy minister designate for aviation. I'm sure you've heard of the other ministries that have also come up in the kind of this. And what's coming up is the number of people that are being appointed and put in place by this government, all put together with regional ministers and all the people that are ministers in this republic. The president seems to have appointed, still leading, 123 ministers in this country. It's a point I want to raise with you first. Let's talk numbers before we talk details in this case. 123.
Yeah, 123 ministers and deputy ministers from a government that was talking about us protecting the public purse is for me too many. I quite remember that I think it was in the 2016 or the 2012 elections when the PPP leader was actually talking about reducing the ministries, and he came up with about 23, 26, which made sense.
Made sense to you?
Yeah, it did make sense to me. And
you didn't suggest it to the NDC when you were in power?
We had a very good number. The NDC had a very good number and ran the country well.
And it made sense to you?
It made sense to me.
But what makes sense to you?
The 125, let's be honest with ourselves, from an angle of us protecting the public purse and having 125 ministers is way, way too many. We have so many ministries, okay, that I am certain that Ghanaians would actually know up to now that there's nothing that they can pinpoint to say that this is what we have achieved as in a new ministry to perform such a function, and this is ABCD that we have achieved. Now, listening to the list that you just went through, what did you say? A minister now moved to Jubilee House,
Yes.
assigned to the office of a minister.
Yes, the senior minister.
No. I don't need you to qualify it, but a senior minister is a minister.
Yeah.
What is the sense in it? A minister in a ministry is now moved to Jubilee House, assigned purposely to the office of another minister. To do what? Is the job of this, what do you call him, senior minister too much for him? Or is it that the senior minister is actually there taking over? Let's say maybe the chief of staff is going away and duties are not handed over to the deputy chief of staff, but then to the senior minister, so he has too much on his hands. I think that what is going on in the country now is not the right thing to be done, as in trying to protect the public purse, as we were made to understand prior to the 2016 elections.
Well, I get your point, but let me be clear in my mind. So is your problem the number of portfolios available, or you think that some of the ministries are just not useful enough and they should be cut down? Because I've heard the numbers argument before. It differs. One talks about just the sheer numbers. Others look at the new portfolios created. For example, what's also pushing up these numbers is the creation of new regions. The NDC actually promised to create new regions too. So what would have happened in the instance that you created new regions? Would there be ministers in charge of these regions?
Sure. We would appoint ministers to these new regions. And for these new regions to come up, just like you said, it was in our manifesto. And the NDC, led by President Mahama, known for its development, we can say, assuredly, that when we come into power, 2021, these new regions will definitely see development. Having said that,
with regional ministers, of course.
Obviously, with regional ministers, but to the number of 125. We were operating with about 83 ministers. Add 6.
That's 89. I get your point.
Thank you very much. So you would see that if we had had the opportunity to stay in power, we would create the new regions, because it was in our manifesto. It has been created. It's good for development. That is fine. The addition of the additional 6 ministers makes the number of ministers way, way too much. What I am trying to say here is this. I believe in the truth. And I think that if you want to arrest or come to power, you just speak the truth to power. And when you tell Ghanaians that, look, we are going to protect the public purse, we know certain ministries that are not performing. We know certain ministries that are just duplication of ministries that we've known in this country.
Which ministries are not performing?
For example, why do you create, what is it, a ministry for Zongo and something development?
Yes,
when
Zongos and inner city development.
Exactly. When you know perfectly well that whatever duties that ministry would perform can easily be done by the Ministry for Local Government.
And this has been done over the years. And you think that the rationalization that there are peculiar issues that require peculiar attention, the more reason why you create a ministry to take charge of those.
So, Raymond,
you don't think that's right?
Raymond, let me ask you a question. So the Ministry for Zongos and whatever was created, and it's been created for 2 years now.
Yes.
We are in our 3rd year. What significant thing have you seen in this country that tells you that the lives of the people in the Zongos have been enhanced by just creating that ministry?
And this is also...
It's zero.
Sorry, but this is also to presume that I should see something to be able to judge enhancement in the lives of people. Is that not too simplistic?
Well, it's all about simplicity and truth. It's all about simplicity and truth. Just go there, open your eyes, forget about what do you call it, figures or whatever is telling you. But you go to the Zongos, you see no improvement. It's as simple as that. So it's all about simplicity and the truth. And that is exactly what the NDC stood for prior to the 2016 elections. Now, if you look at the achievements of former President John Mahama in infrastructure, what we believed in as the country is going to have to make us move forward. President Mahama in 2016 could have promised heaven, just like we saw MPP did. But that is not what he did. He spoke the truth. Unfortunately, Ghanaians do not ask questions. If we had asked questions, like some time back when the sitting president was asked, how are you going to fund free SHS, BBC, and he couldn't even answer. If Ghanaians would have asked questions about the million for every constituency, about Ghana having money, so we NPP, we are not borrowing, about one district, one factory, one dam. I mean, as for one dam and one village, it's like when I count the number of villages in this country and you're going to dig a dam, I don't know whether it's a legal way of
the claim was not actually to put in every single village. It was
what we should have, what we should do,
specifically stipulated
what we should
this
do
promise
in this
really was
country,
for the northern region,
what
the northern part of the country.
Same.
Yes, and that
northern part of the country.
Yes,
how many villages do we have?
No, that was not the substantive point of talking. And
but
I'm sure you know how this implementation is going to go.
Raymond, I think it's about time that politicians, just like President Mahama did in 2016, start to respect the Ghanaian, to tell the Ghanaian the truth. This is what it is today. This is where I'm taking you tomorrow, and this is how we can get there. Vote for me. It's not about you telling somebody that the country is sitting on money. There is money in this country. I am not going to borrow any money when you elect me. And then you have the nerves of a broken bottle to tell the country that it is not a betrayal if you should do what? Go out there and borrow. Mm-hmm. Are you getting the simplicity of it?
I get your point.
But although it is simple, it's so hurtful. And people at this point in time, having realized where the country is now, are not humble enough to face the Ghanaian and apologize to the Ghanaian. That is my beef. Let's be honest to the electorate. Let's be honest to the people. And let us
apologize for what exactly?
Oh, if I, Horace Sankara, should stand on a platform and tell you about the ills of those that we want to get out, that they are in power, the economy is so bad, the dollar is A, the pound is B, and all that kind of stories. And today, we see the worst of it. What is the best thing for you to do? Do you still fight and lie? Or you come out and apologize? Or at least you come out and tell Ghanaians that you weren't expecting A, B, C, D, and you do that honestly. The people can read who an honest person is. That is why today, Ghanaians have actually regretted voting out President Mahama.
How did you get to know that?
I know that because I'm NDC. That is one. I know that because...
Forgive me. What I was expecting was that...
No, hold on. I get you. Yes, I get you perfectly well. And I know that because I know the gentleman, that is President Mahama, and what he stood for and stands for, and will forever stand for Ghana.
But what he stood for and stands for has nothing to do with what the people regret saying or doing in an election year.
Because they have regretted not having the opportunity to ask questions. They have regretted listening to what is not true. They have regretted, ever going through what is happening now compared to what they were going through in during President Mahama's time. Let me give you a very good example of the honesty of a leader. You understand? That can actually get people to sort of say to themselves that, oh, this gentleman is genuine. This gentleman is sorry. This lady is genuine. This lady is sorry. Raymond, you remember what we went through with Dumsor?
Yeah.
Good.
A very extensive one, of course.
You still feel it?
Once in a while.
Why would you feel it? Because we no longer have Dumsor. What I want you to appreciate when I talk about the truth, and up to at this point in time, Ghanaians have realized that President Mahama is a true individual, is this. And this is the example I'm giving you. You remember when he stood in front of Parliament, giving the State of the Nation address? We actually felt how he was feeling about what people were going through with Dumsor.
I see.
He promised that he would fix it. What did he do? He fixed it. What are we saying, or what are we hearing in January 2017? Oh, we the MPP, we've come and we faced Dumsor. You did not come to meet Dumsor, so how could you fix it? I'm talking about speaking the truth. Let Ghanaians know the truth. That is my beef.
Okay.
And that is the reason why I am saying to you that the Ghanaian has actually regretted.
Not because you've spoken to them, or not because any survey says so.
No. We haven't spoken to the people yet.
Okay.
The people themselves are seeing what is going on.
Okay.
The people themselves are feeling what is going on. Can I give you a very good example of somebody that is feeling and has actually come out to tell Ghanaians how he's feeling about what is going on? Former President Rawlings.
Okay, I see.
For an ex-president to say to the people of Ghana that I can feel, and I know that it's tough in this country, then you should know that something is happening. Something is happening. For an ex-president to come out of his vehicle and direct traffic at a junction, then you know that there is something happening. My frustration is the chaotic nature, but seemingly as though everything is fine in this country, is my worry.
And this chaotic nature you see, but people are making it look like there's no chaos. Is that what you're saying?
People are making it look like everything is so beautiful, things are normal, when actually, because somebody will come on telly, a minister comes on telly, and then what would you hear? Talking about inflation figures going down. This is the first time I've seen inflation figures supposedly going down, and then the value of our currency is what? Losing its what? Value?
Yes.
Raymond, I am a frustrated individual, and that is why I can't wait for 2020 to come around for Ghanaians. Nobody in the NDC, neither is former President Mahama, is asking Ghanaians that, hey, say sorry, but you have learned or have seen and felt what you thought you were voting for. So judge in 2020.
Now, the question I asked you prior to this was about the numbers and the signals it sends to people.
And I've taken my frustration to tell Ghanaians everything.
My point on that was to find out from you whether there is commitment from the NDC or any other government coming in, and they will live by the words when they say, we will be frugal, we will not appoint as many ministers, and we will not be ostentatious. This, the expectation is, should reflect in the numbers that you appoint and the things they do, so that we see high productivity with slightly lower number than we have today. Can the NDC say that boldly?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The NDC performed and performed well under President Mahama with lower numbers. Unprecedented infrastructure. We saw regional, institutional, district hospitals spring up. We saw roads spring up left and right and center. We saw so many things spring up. We saw so many things done. Water potable water, so many things done under President Mahama. With how many? 83 ministers. But for me, even if you think of the numbers, let's say the current government needs the numbers per where we are as a country. Raymond, is it not absurd? Is it not you thinking that the Ghanaian is not up there, that you will say that you are taking a substantive minister from a ministry to go to Flagstaff House, mainly assigned to the office of another minister?
This is not the first time we've had a Minister of State at the office of the President before.
Thank you so much.
This is the first time?
No, this is not the first time.
It happened under Mahama.
It happened under Mahama. It happened under President Mills. But not a minister going to Flagstaff House or Jubilee House assigned to another minister.
So that's where your problem is.
It tells me that this government simply want to get the numbers there, i.e. to give them work to do. And get, not even work to do.
But have you been told why this arrangement is? Have you been told why?
I don't need to be told anything.
Would it have been fair and more appropriate that you get to know the reasons? Perhaps.
Thank you very much.
If you know the reasons, it would have actually
thank you very much.
Influence your thoughts about what to say on this matter.
No. You see, the good thing about governance is that before an action, if you tell the people your reason, questions will not be asked. You understand?
Yes, I'm not disputing
I'll
that.
give you another example where reasons are not given. People tend to actually come out with something, own it, but then there are certain words we don't want to use. I'll give you an example. In the State of the Nation address, the President spoke about the change in the national curriculum for primary school and said that government is going to change or has changed the curriculum of primary school.
The government was changing. There's a policy in place, and it has not changed as we speak today.
Sir, it is a law that after a certain number of years, the curriculum has to be reviewed. So I don't see the point where a particular party should own it as probably an achievement. Only for a body, a stakeholder, to come around and say that, hey, we were not even consulted. Okay. Now, these are some of the things that I'm talking to you about.
I get you.
Let people know what
government has disputed that particular claim. I'm sure you are aware.
Oh, come on.
You don't believe government's own, right? You believe the people who are making the claim.
Let me tell you something. It was the president who stood there and told Ghanaians, and listen, I am not the president, you are not the president. It tells you that the president is not anybody at all.
I don't understand.
You don't understand?
I seen that there's a prestigious position.
How can I?
The president's position is prestigious.
Let me do my best to calm down. The president should not say something that he should think that it will be misconstrued. Say it in plain language.
Okay, that's what you're trying to say.
And I believe that on that day, yeah, no matter who I am, whether I am up there in my IQ or low or somewhere in my IQ, I heard him vividly. Yeah, and as an educationist, I knew what he was talking about. And I was telling myself that, no, government should not own it, or the party should not own it, because it's a laid down principle that after a certain number of years, you review the national curriculum, and don't say that government has, when stakeholders have not even been consulted. That is all I'm saying.
I get your point. Forgive me. Give me time to take a break. When I come back from this break, we'll continue our engagement with Ambassador Horace Ankrah. We've been talking, of course, what's currently happening is the recent list the president released, not only for fresh ministers for the new ministries, but also the reshuffle, 9 different positions that have been changed, some taken into the office of the president, and some names conspicuously absent on that particular list. After the break, we'll continue our conversation. You welcome back. This is UPfront. My name is Raymond Alka. My guest today is Ambassador Horace Ankrah. We'll be having a conversation first and foremost on the fresh list of reshuffled ministers, deputy ministers, some moved to different positions, others cannot be found on the list at all. And we also know some ministers have been appointed and deputy ministers for the new regions. These, of course, regions were created some weeks ago, and we do know what we've gone through in that particular process. Bringing all of the ministers under the presidency of Nana Danko Akufo-Addo to 123. That number is also what we are talking about today. Now, you're welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
We're having a conversation on these numbers and what it means for the people, what the impact is supposed to be. You obviously do not think that higher numbers are any good to any group in any way. But the part of the conversation that perhaps we will leave it off is, do we know for a fact whether having higher numbers is necessarily not good enough, especially when the higher numbers, we are told, are being productive, they are ensuring efficiency, they are doing the work required of them to run the state effectively?
Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence from government? The economy is still bad.
Really? That's why we want to see.
Just hold on. Just hold on. It's not that is what I want to see. I want to see the lives of the Ghanaian enhanced.
Yes, but that's what I'm
But what I'm trying to say to you here is that the creation of all these ministries, culminating into us having all these number of ministers, and you are talking about evidence, or you're talking about lives being enhanced in a way, and I'm asking that where is the evidence?
Oh, you first.
I walk.
You said the economy, but forgive me.
I walk.
You said the economy is bad.
Let me land.
Okay.
I walk up and down the streets. One word that I hate is the word zongo, but I go down the zongos. I stop my car and go into schools and teach for free. I know what is out there. Trust me, I know what is out there, and this government has failed to show or come up with any evidence at all that I created this particular ministry, Zongos and whatever. I created this particular ministry, just to make sure that lives are enhanced, the environment is enhanced. All these things that they are claiming, is moving the country forward. Give me the evidence. Raymond, the minister or the deputy minister that you interviewed said this is the first time in this country that a deputy ministerial position had been created for vocational and technical sort of...
TVET, technical and vocational education.
Trust me, that particular office wasn't created, but then under President Mahama, there was a deputy minister also in charge of that, doing what he has to do. 2.5 years, no evidence. Everything about the MPP is in process. Everything is in process. Oh, in the next year or two, you will see. You are claiming that you've done the best that you could in that particular ministry, praising your own self, and the evidence is not there for the Ghanaian to see.
Now, you talk about evidence and said the economy was bad. I guess your only reference is to the exchange rate, right?
No. That is not my only reference.
I see.
I drive through the country. I drive to my office. I see lives on pavements in Abekan La Paz.
That's what shows the economy is bad?
Oh, my brother, the economy is not about those indicators that you talk about. What did Rawlings tell us as Ghanaians? Rawlings said he is not an economist. But when he's hungry, he knows he's hungry.
We've always had hungry people in this country.
Thank you very much. And it is worsened. So where are we going as a country?
What's the proof to this worsening?
What is the proof?
Yes.
Don't you drive around and at the lights you see more people begging for alms?
Okay.
Hold on.
Could it be possible?
Hold on. Just you asked me about the proof.
Yes.
Okay. Haven't you realized that this day and age, your common thing in toilet, you know the water in that rubber thing?
Sachet water.
Even that price has gone up.
20 pesos.
You're talking about 20 pesos. Tell me what amount that it will come up to when you save 20 pesos for a whole year.
So that's how you determine that the economy is hard?
I don't read about you telling me that inflation is gone down.
You don't think so?
I look at the people, I see...
You don't care about the GDP growth rate?
I do care.
The time that you
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Let me tell you
It
something.
moved
I
up
do
to
care.
8.1% under this government.
You see,
in 2017.
You see, these.
Should I proceed in that direction?
These are the figures that we always want to use in our arguments.
But it's always been used by governments, including yours before.
What I am trying to say to you, okay, Raymond, I'll ask you a simple question. Have you ever witnessed this inflation going down, but then the value of this CD is also going so spiraling down?
But the factors that
No. I'm asking you.
I mean,
even Raymond,
the exchange rate
if
include, but it's not limited to inflation.
You see, this is where we go wrong as a people. The factors, the percentage here and there. When the Ghanaian living down that road to Kumasi can't even identify what a 5 cedi note is. I am talking about the Ghanaian's life being enhanced, and that should be paramount. Not about figures. What I'm trying to tell you is about the neglect of this particular government, of the Ghanaian. With all the promises prior to the 2016 elections, what did the Ghanaian do? The Ghanaian voted for the MPP simply because the MPP told Ghanaians that we've never ever seen this sort of exchange rate before. We are going to bring it down because we have locked, the city, and we've given the key to who? Did you say the IGP or the Army Commander?
IGP, yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. The IGP. Then the city has been able to outwit the IGP and can be caught. Is it not about time that you explain to Ghanaians? Is it about time that you face the Ghanaian and apologize sincerely? Yeah?
Okay, but that point you
Hold
made.
on. What I'm trying to tell you that it's not about the figures, it's how the people are feeling. What is there for the Ghanaian? The Ghanaian is not wanting to listen to, what do you call him? Baumia tell us that he's arrested the city. The Ghanaian wants to know whether in the 21st century, tell him why he's still paying for cotton wool. Tell him why he's still paying for gloves. Tell him why he's still paying for blood tests. The Ghanaian want to know why in the 21st century he's still doing what? Paying for physiotherapy. The things that I know that an NDC government come 2021 will address.
Okay.
That is what the Ghanaian is looking for.
I see.
And that is the opportunity that wasn't given to former President Mahama because of simple, he's not the vice president. I can't use the word lies. Let me find a better word. Is it misinformation or?
So the NDC lost because Dr. Baumia apparently, and from your claim, lied to Ghanaians. Is that what you're saying?
A host of them. A host of them. And unfortunately, because the Ghanaian did not have the opportunity to ask certain questions, they ran away with it.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why the NPP also succeeded was the fact that former President Mahama decided to speak the truth, nothing but the truth, to the poor.
I see. And the
So
poor
at the
people
end
could
of the day,
could not discern whether they were being told the truth or not.
Unfortunately. But now everybody has seen it. Raymond,
Yeah.
are you saying that the Ghanaian is interested in the rate at which the city was depreciating under Mahama compared to what it is this time?
But forgive me, see, I'm speaking to you.
Speak to
You
me.
make a claim about issues, and I'm asking you to justify. I'm asking you to justify why you say there are more poor people today than there were some time ago, which cannot be factual anyway, which I'm convinced you can't have any statistical basis for it.
Thank you.
Because if you have read the most recent...
Thank you. You know what?
The most recent Ghana Living Standard Survey by the Statistical Service,
My brother,
you'll be convinced
my brother,
that there's a reduction.
My brother,
you can debate how much
my
that
brother,
reduction
I
is.
do not, in capital letters, and listen to me carefully, I do not. Hold on. I do not read these cosmetic things.
What's cosmetic about
hold on.
the Living Standard Survey?
Hold on. I go down. I go down just like President Rawlings did. I go down and feel it with the people. Because I know that the Ghanaian down there doesn't understand what 3% is. He or she doesn't know. Let me tell you, Raymond, I gave a 5 cedi note to somebody in a village, and the person actually rejected it and then rather took the 1 cedi from me. I was thinking that the person is so humble. I went back in my car and I said to myself, wow, buddy, let's go back. We went back. The person told me that we enyesika. We enyesika. Is the 1 cedi that is sika. I don't read these figures. I do understand the figures, but go down there and actually see what the Ghanaian is feeling.
But when you discuss rates, it doesn't mean the phenomenon.
Somebody will say and bring up figures, just like this government is coming up with day in, day out, inflation is going down. So what is happening to the dollar? What is happening to the cedi against the dollar, the cedi against the pound? When actually the Ghanaian cannot find any money to actually pay for the gloves that he or she is being charged in the hospitals, 21st century.
Okay.
When the Ghanaian is not sure. Raymond, I don't know how old you are, but in the days when we were growing up in Kumasi, I'm a Kumasi boy. In the days when we were growing up in Kumasi, and the whole educational system was well structured, yeah, kids had the opportunity to actually use holidays meaningfully. Programs were designed. Now everything is about a double track system where I don't know when I'm going home and I don't know when my kid brother is also coming home. I don't know when I'm going to school. I don't know. So we can't even organize during the holidays anything meaningful for kids to even learn, for kids to even enhance themselves. That is the problem that I have, and that is what I am telling you.
Okay.
That even if previous governments did not address certain things, this particular government has not up to date defined its destination, and it is a problem.
I get your point. Now, because I'm running out of time, I want us to look at 2 very broad issues before we leave off. First one, I'm sure you're in support of John Dramani Mahama's quest to come back.
And I always support ex-President John Mahama to come back.
Do you think he stands a fighting chance?
He stands a very huge chance to rescue this country. You know, the country is like, I mean, he's coming back to lift prostrate Ghana up on its feet again.
Something you couldn't do previously?
The country, no, hold on. It's not something that we couldn't do previously. Compare the 2 governments. Compare and tell me.
In terms of what specifically?
Anything at all that you want to compare.
Oh, well,
I am ready for you.
Let me start from GDP, something you may not like.
Oh, come on.
Oh, but that's not comparable to you?
Listen to me. It is not about GDP.
Really?
It is not about GDP. I want you, to challenge me on anything at all, comparing these 2 administrations, what the Ghanaian felt, and feels today. Bring that.
I don't understand what you mean by that. Felt. How do I do a comparison?
What I am. You were talking about comparison.
Yes.
Yeah? And I'm saying to you that it is not about what somebody reads. You and I will understand, but you and I
get you. You made this point consistent. The question I'm
making it consistent.
The main question I'm asking you is that why do you think the people of this country deserve another term of John Dramani Mahama?
Because he had a beautiful program, vision, coupled with integrity to enhance the lives of the Ghanaian. Unlike what we are seeing, the lies that brought a particular party into government, they haven't up to date achieved anything at all that I believe and the Ghanaian believe that has actually enhanced their lives. Look,
exclusive, even free SHS.
Oh, you see, I knew you were going to come there. Free SHS.
Because this is government
Raymond, listen to me carefully. I am offering the Ghanaian free SHS.
Yes.
I am the same person who is saying, and listen to this carefully, I am the same government saying that I am raising 50 million loan to help the free SHS students to have extra classes. Does it make sense to you? You know why? Because
You mean the teacher motivation
Hold
fee?
on. Teacher motivation.
Yes, the extra 50 million is for teacher
50
motivation.
million, oh, please. Did you read or did you hear them say, you say, don't behave like them.
Sorry,
Change
no,
it.
forgive me.
I know.
Policy.
Please.
I was there when they launched this program.
Please, you were there.
I saw specifically their budget lines for this program.
Oh.
And this year, the additional amount of money is 50.5. And that's specifically for teacher motivation. That is stated. It's not in doubt.
What do you mean by teacher motivation?
I mean, they have not said so. They claim that some students...
Are you now saying that it is unfortunate that Horace Ayankra and the NDC family cannot read, cannot hear? Just like the president was saying that people who can see, people who can hear are those who are not appreciating his achievements.
No, for
that is a very low belt. But I am not going that way because my leader, President Mahama, and my party, we don't go that way. What I am trying to say to you is that we can read,
okay,
we can hear,
okay,
we do understand, and I have read and heard that the 50 million, yeah, whether part of it or whether the whole thing has this thing in mind. We are going to make sure that free SHS also has what? Extra classes in it.
I see. If you insist. Now, the final question I'm asking you on this one is...
No. You haven't answered my question. I said to you, does it make sense?
Oh, no, but one of the things I don't like doing here
is to be asked questions.
Yes, not ask questions, but be answering the questions. Yeah. I like this position a lot. That's why I'm not seated where you are. I just want to find out from you.
Yeah.
I want you to state to me 3 main policies that the John Dramani Mahama administration, when it's elected in the future, would pursue, which is not being done today, specifically.
I believe that a future John Dramani Mahama administration with the NDC will address, just as it was being addressed, to enhance the Ghanaian life when it comes to health. I have made certain points to you that unfortunately we see it happen in the 21st century that I believe that it shouldn't be. John Dramani Mahama will address that.
Which one specifically? No, see, I'm just asking because I was unclear, Mama, what you stated.
I said so many things.
Yes, but
I said to you that...
I want you to list them, just 3 of them, because I'm running out of time.
Yes, health. President Mahama had already said that in his time, yeah, he's going to review the double track.
Okay.
And also review the boarding aspect of the free SHS.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. He is also known as the best infrastructural leader that we've ever had.
Okay.
He's going to continue with that.
Okay. So
now, to top it all, he's going to continue to be the true person that he has always been.
I get your point. I appreciate that. I have a final question about China. Of
but
course,
you've always had final question.
Well, no, it was for him, not for me. My final question to you about China is, Ghana is seeking to have a wonderful relationship with Sino-Hydro, with exchange bauxite for some projects. It's called a bilateral deal, which is not, as the government pursues it, a loan. Do you think it is worth pursuing a Sino-Hydro barter deal?
Well, if you've realized in my conversation with you, me and the NDC is all about us enhancing the Ghanaian. And if it's going to enhance the Ghanaian, so be it. If there are going to be flaws, like there were flaws in the Ameri renegotiation, I believe that we have able people who are going to address that. But having mentioned China, I noticed that in the State of the Nation address, after the commentaries, a deputy chief of staff was talking about how happy Ghanaians should be because Sinotrack is coming into Ghana. Sinotrack was finished, dealt with in June 2016 by myself under President Mahama.
I get your point. Many thanks to you. And folks, that's where we're in today's edition of UPfront.